Scuba diving can be a terrifying pursuit that involves dealing with drastic changes in pressure, dangerous sea creatures, and a limited air supply. Most of us never get to see the lowest reaches of the ocean in person, and even fewer encounter life-threatening situations deep underwater. Thanks to these brave divers, however, you get to experience a taste of the fear and mystery that comes with subsea adventures. Let's take a look at some of the scariest videos caught by divers.
Amazing!
Number 10. Out of the blue. In this video, intrepid diver Grayson Shepard is out collecting lionfish, a destructive invasive species whose numbers need to be limited by humans. After collecting 4 lionfish, Shepard saw something no diver wants to see. Roughly 22 miles south of St. Vincent Island and 93 feet below the surface, Shepard spotted the terrifyingly recognizable shape of a great white shark. It was around 35 feet below him, however, and seemed to be swimming in the other direction. Shepard wasn't able to surface immediately and needed to wait 3 more minutes in order to avoid the bends, so he readied his spear gun and prepared for the worst. As he waited, the shark decided to take another look. Emerging suddenly out of the murky water, it was heading straight at him, but Shepard knew not to swim away and trigger the shark's predator-prey instinct. Thankfully, his bravery paid off. The shark turned away to give Shepard a full-profile view of the 10-foot-long predator. Shepard admits he was lucky to survive and only lost 1 lionfish in the process. Number 9. Quaking in my wetsuit. Roughly 13,000 to 14,000 earthquakes occur every year, and hundreds can occur every day, all over the world. Most of them are unnoticeable, but some of them are phenomenally destructive and can cause unstoppable tsunamis. These divers were given an idea of just how powerful an earthquake can be when they were swimming in Batangas in the Philippines. All of a sudden, the seabed starts to shake violently, throwing up sand clouds and tossing rocks from side to side. Even the seaweed looks concerned. This was the result of a 5.6 to 6.0 magnitude earthquake, which admittedly doesn't seem to last very long, but was extremely powerful nonetheless. There's very little footage of this rare occurrence, so we're lucky that these divers were there to capture such a ground-shaking spectacle. I wonder if SpongeBob got out okay. Number 8. Underwater Enigma. Around 95% of the ocean's water remains a mystery to us, which basically means there are all sorts of horrifying undiscovered creatures lurking down where the light won't reach. In April of 2012, one such creature was spotted by an oil rig's underwater camera at a depth of over 5,000 feet. As the camera rises up along one of the support struts, its view is suddenly obscured by an enormous brown mass. The slightly translucent organism shifts and billows through the water like a silken bedsheet, but occasionally reveals either an organ or a frill that makes me think I'm looking at a creature from another world. This amorphous life form was eventually identified as a placental jellyfish, also known as a Deepsteria reticulum, and only within the last 7 years have scientists been able to capture images of this strange creature and its cousin, the Deepsteria enigmatica. As deep-sea imaging and soft robotics advance, there's no telling what else will be found in the darkness below. Number 7. 3 days off. In late 2013, a tugboat capsized off the coast of Nigeria, and for 3 days the wreck of the ship sat at the bottom of the sea before salvage divers reached it. The divers were there only to collect the bodies. After finding 4 dead crew members, the divers believed they'd found another one upon seeing a limp hand floating in the water. But when diver Nico Van Heerden grabbed the hand grabbed back. It belonged to Harrison O'Keen, the ship's cook, who had been washed into a small air pocket as the ship was sinking. For 3 days he was trapped inside, drinking only Coca-Cola, since he claims he was unable to consume food or water. By the time he was found, the salt water had begun to erode Harrison's tongue and parts of his skin, and he'd had to listen to the sounds of his crewmates' bodies being eaten by fish. Before he could be brought to the surface, Harrison had to spend another 60 hours in a decompression chamber so that the excess nitrogen in his body did not form lethal gas bubbles as they rose to the surface. Harrison counts himself lucky to be alive, but remains haunted by the ordeal to this very day. Number 6. Caught in the Vortex. Divers are constantly at the mercy of the movement of the ocean, but none so much as these 3 who were filmed swimming off the coast of Isla Socorro. As the cameraman pans down, you can see two of his companions trapped in a twisting vortex current. They're struggling to get out, and by their movements, you can tell that panic has set in. While these fortunate divers did manage to escape the pull of this unpredictable phenomenon, many aren't so lucky, and I think a valuable lesson was learned. Keep an eye out for vortexes, people. Number 5. That's No Squid. Upon first watching this video taken in 2007 by a Shell rig camera, I was convinced that Cthulhu was finally beginning his ascent. This otherworldly creature is in fact a magnapinna, or bigfin squid, and it was captured in the Gulf of Mexico at a depth of 7,800 feet. The squid's extensive tentacles are estimated to be 15 to 20 times the length of its body, making the squid around 26 feet long in total. Adult bigfins have never been captured or sampled by researchers, so this astounding footage is more an object of scientific importance than one of fear. Still, ever since laying eyes on this thing, it's been floating around in my nightmares. Number 4. Left for Dead. For most people, the idea of being stranded in the middle of the ocean with no hope of rescue is unimaginably terrifying. But that's exactly what happened to 30-year-old Jacob Childs when he accidentally strayed away from his diving group off the coast of Queensland. Jacob was left 30 miles from shore with the sun going down, and he documented his experience with a GoPro. After chasing a trawler for about an hour, Jacob seems relatively calm as he comes to terms with the fact that he's going to die. The video then jumps forward to near total darkness. But it's just at this most hopeless moment that Jacob notices a rescue plane overhead, which then circles back round, having spotted him. Just try and imagine the emotional journey he went through during those 6 hours. You won't even come close. Number 3. Whale shark attacks diver. The whale shark is the largest known fish in the ocean, but it's also one of the friendliest. It doesn't have teeth and only feeds on plankton, so it wouldn't normally make for a scary encounter. In this video, however, the diver on screen seems to have done something to really annoy the whale shark. It pursues him with determination for around 2 minutes, and what some commenters have deemed the slowest attack in history. It would be no joke if the diver was swallowed by the whale shark, but thankfully the creature eventually gives up the chase. The whale shark may have been attracted to the bubbles or even just trying to play. Although with a creature that size, any interaction is going to be in some way scary. The video even inspired a user-suggested movie. From the makers of Jaws, I bring you Gums. T-shirt link available in the description. Buy one to be the envy of your friends. Number 2. Whale of a snack. There's only one rule to follow when you're swimming with whales. Don't end up like Jonah. This wildlife photographer very nearly broke that rule when he was filming the sardine run off the coast of South Africa in March 2019. The diver, Rainer Shrimp, said that the near swallowing only lasted about 2 seconds, from when the immense creature took hold of him to when he was released. These images show the exact moment that Shrimp was lifted out of the water, but Shrimp claims there wasn't even time to be terrified. He knew that a whale's throat is actually too narrow to swallow a human being. If the whale had pulled him beneath the water, however, it would have meant certain death, so Shrimp counts himself lucky to have been spat out so quickly. Shrimp told his son about the incident, and the boy was pretty impressed. But the biggest coincidence of all? The diver's son is named Jonas. Close enough. Try not to make this a family curse, kid. Now before we get on to the most terrifying diver video, here are a couple of honorable mentions. This terrifying creature is a frilled shark. The shark just gets scarier the more you look at it. The creature only grows to an average of about 3.5 feet long, but it has 25 rows of razor-hooked teeth, which add up to 300 teeth in total. It's also able to distend its jaw and consume prey weighing up to half its entire body weight. And its snake-like digestive system can expand to accommodate an extra-large meal. What's even stranger is that scientists consider the disturbing-looking shark a living fossil because the species is around 80 million years old and has changed little since then. It definitely looks that way. Kind of like a smiling maniac that's waiting for you to laugh at one of its sick jokes. Next up, the icy finger of death, which sounds like a move from Mortal Kombat, or something the Night King might do to you, but it's actually a natural phenomenon that occurs when seawater freezes in polar oceans. Salt brine concentrates are expelled from the surface ice, and the result is a downward flow of dense, extremely cold salty water that has a lower freezing point than the surrounding water. This descending plume is so cold that the brine becomes encased in ice as it moves. This creates a hollow underwater icicle, which is referred to as a brinacle. Once it reaches the sea floor, the briny flow starts to pool and spread, freezing everything it touches. Any creatures dwelling at the bottom, such as starfish or sea urchins, become trapped in this icy web and are ultimately frozen to death. This chilling phenomenon was first captured on camera in 2011 by a BBC team filming the Frozen Planet series. It also happens to be the only footage we have of Patrick Starfish's final moments. This last honorable mention is the red devil squid, also known as the Humboldt squid, after the Humboldt Current in the eastern Pacific Ocean where they live. These killer squid are known for their aggression, with a very sharp beak which could snap off your finger. Imagine being this diver, who's over 100 feet below the surface, with a creature as alien looking as that around you. Truly terrifying. Humboldt squid can grow to over 8 feet in length and weigh up to 100 pounds. Some species even exhibit bioluminescence. In this video, watch as British wildlife TV presenter Steve Backshall handles one of these beasts, but gets a little too comfortable. As his partner tries to remove the squid from the diver's arm, the squid takes the opportunity to take a bite with its powerful beak. Fortunately, Steve was wearing a chainmail suit, but even that couldn't stop the pain. Part of me thinks some justice is in order. Served with a side of calamari. Number 1. A deep end. In the Red Sea, just off the coast of Egypt, there's a diving location called the Blue Hole. Despite its ease of access from the shore and seeming lack of current, many have suggested that the Blue Hole is the deadliest dive site in the world, as it has claimed the lives of as many as 200 divers in recent years. Rescue diver Tarek Omar has collected so many bodies from the hole that he claims to have stopped counting. One notable story was that of Yuri Lipsky, a 22-year-old Russian-Israeli diving instructor who in April of 2000 captured his own death on film. Lipsky was subject to an involuntary and uncontrolled descent due to carrying too much weight, which pulled him down to a depth of 115 meters. After hitting the seafloor, the panicking Lipsky attempted to fill his buoyancy compensator, but found himself unable to rise. At that depth, Lipsky would have been subject to severe nitrogen narcosis, which causes hallucinations and may have impaired his judgment. Omar later recovered his body, along with the infamous tape, which he says he wishes he'd destroyed, since Lipsky's mother now has footage of her own son drowning. The footage is both terrifying and sad, serving as a poignant reminder of the myriad of unknowable dangers of deep-sea diving. Rest in peace, Yuri. So which one did you find the scariest? And what do you think would be the scariest thing to see underwater? Will you ever go in the sea again? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and be careful out there.